Have you ever noticed that when you do something you think is a good form of revenge, you have to quickly undo it before you get turned into a human pretzel? Well, that's what Lincoln found out in the episode I'm going to talk about today. So join me as I, SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. Cue the intro! Today's episode is Get the Message. In this episode, Lincoln tries to delete a nasty voicemail he left on Lori's phone after she breaks his virtual headset and then surprisingly buys him a new one to make up for what she had done. For this being the episode that airs directly after the series premiere of Left in the Dark, Get the Message is sort of a step down from the episode that's paired with it. On that note, I should talk about the negatives first. Right off the bat, the way Lori was presented in this episode may have been consistent with how her character was first introduced in the pilot, that being the phone-obsessed teenager with a bossy, aggressive, and overbearing attitude, hence pushing her brother out of her bedroom and even out of the bathroom while he was still using it. A lot of her behavior was very off-putting. She never actually says sorry to Lincoln for breaking his headset, something Lincoln directly points out. And you can't really blame Lincoln for leaving her a nasty voicemail in retaliation. I suppose Lori saying she felt bad for breaking the headset and then going out to buy him a new one was her way of saying sorry, and I do appreciate the fact she made it up to him rather than not doing anything at all, but in my opinion, her apology didn't really come off as sincere. It also agitated me how she rather conveniently deleted her brother's voicemail before she could listen to it, because one of her rules is Lincoln is to never call her phone since she believes his voicemails would be useless. I don't know the history of what could have prompted such a rule, but what would happen if there was some kind of emergency and Lincoln needed to call her? Would she just blow him off without listening? Again, Lori came off as more overbearing than necessary. Although I will give her a little praise for saying her brother acted mature and didn't freak out when she broke his headset in the beginning and thus allowing his useless voicemail to slide with no brutal consequences, the overall presentation of her character is what brought the episode down. However, there were some good things to come out of this episode. I did get a chuckle out of Lola and Lana acting like police officers because they were practicing to be the hall monitors at school and taking their positions very seriously by locking up Luann for telling bad jokes and trying to ensure nothing bad would happen while patrolling the upstairs hallway. Of course, Lincoln had to find a way to sneak past them and into Lori's bedroom to delete the voicemail while her sister's phone was still charging, and as to be expected, it was a wacky little sequence with a few moments of him trying not to get caught by the officers of the law. The episode had one of those fantasy versus reality scenarios where the mission looked better in his head than what actually happened, and that's pretty much how the mission played out, especially in the case of Clyde serving as the distraction in the off chance Lori walked upstairs. He was so smooth and slick in the fantasy, but in reality he was pretty much love-struck by Lori and was ultimately useless in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yeah, it was funny, but still, Clyde was more useless than useful to the plot. My favorite moment of the episode was when Luna burst onto the scene playing her guitar as her way of censoring out any rage-inducing swear words. First when Lincoln is leaving his voicemail, and when Lori finds the note Lincoln was using when making said voicemail. I take it the note Lincoln was using for his phone call fell out of his pocket while he was dangling from the bathroom ceiling after he fell through the vent on his way to Lori's room, so it's funny and yet kind of frightening how Lori still ended up making contact with what was still Lincoln's nasty voicemail, but in paper form. Overall, this episode was not exactly on the same level as Left in the Dark, thanks in part to Lori's behavior in spite of her good intentions to put things right with Lincoln, which I guess technically made her the more mature one compared to her brother, given the latter's response to what she had done to his headset, even if said response was somewhat justifiable. But for what it was worth, it was still an okay episode to kick off the first half-hour airing of the show. And hey, Lincoln's got some sick dance moves when it comes to fighting zombies in virtual reality. With that said, I give Get the Message a 7.5 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Get the Message. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.